It's been an entire year since I made this game, and now it's time to reflect on it. For some context, I made this visual novel called 2152 Pizza Pocket. It is essentially a trash post of my book 2152 The Trifold Article. So basically the summary of the game, you play as Gioni, a somewhat irresponsible teenager with an affinity for bad luck, especially when dealing with the different personalities around City 2. Gioni must learn to disregard her intrusive thoughts to reach her goal. So you navigate through this post-apocalyptic city to acquire this processed pizza substitute. I somehow managed to make this game in a month. Yes, a month. It involved 80 drawings and over 3,000 lines of code, which translates to about an hour of gameplay. I wrote the dialogue, made the music, and even designed the user interface. It was insane. But through it all, this game is so unserious sometimes, and with all its flaws, I still had a blast making it. I learned so much while creating this thing, especially when it comes to art. So we'll learn today what I got right, and what I got wrong, and what I got wrong, and what I got wrong. So if you eventually want to learn how to make a visual novel, you'll understand essentially everything, and you'll understand what to do and what not to do. Let's start off with by far the hardest part of it. I made this game using Renpy, a visual novel engine that uses Python scripting. When I started, I never coded before, not on Scratch with the little kids and not on Toy House because no one had invited me yet. I basically knew nothing. My best friends on this venture were Reddit, Lemmasoft forums, and YouTube, especially YouTube. Hey look, guess who's on YouTube right now? If you want to start making visual novels in Renpy, this is the place to start. It wasn't that much studying for me. I would literally just watch Renpy tutorials on YouTube, sometimes while half asleep. And since Renpy used Python scripting, I'd watch some Python tutorials too, to just understand the lingo and everything. The regular Python videos were way more confusing, but in a way, its difficulty helped me understand Renpy much easier. Okay, so when you learn the basics on YouTube, check out the tutorial game that the Renpy team so kindly added, and seeing the game right next to the code helps tremendously. And after that, when YouTube and the tutorial doesn't do it for you anymore, try finding it on Lemmasoft forums or Reddit and you'll be good to go. Okay, want to see my code? Come here. I know you do. Now, I'll of course link this below, but I almost don't need to because I think I accidentally left the code out and exposed in the game download. God, just imagine that, downloading a game and the code is just there. Holy hell. I built this game in a cave with a box of scraps. But anyway, I won't bore you to death by going line by line through all 3,000 lines telling you what they mean and what their mother's maiden name is. Instead, I'll just give you a quick rundown. The code editor I used was Atom, which has been discontinued. So, let's take a moment of silence for Atom. It was discontinued in December 2022, and I started using its corpse to code games in around May 2023. So yeah, you could still use it, Atom still works. Rapid fire, let's just try to define all of these. So, define J equals character Gioni. That means whenever you type J and type dialogue, a character named Gioni would say it. Also, remember everything is case sensitive. Mini Gioni is just a little drawing I added of her to the dialogue. Color equals 207637, that's the hex code I used for the name. Us artists, we know about that. That's the only numbers we ever use in art. And callback Gioni beep is that very annoying beeping sound that I thought was a good idea to add to the game. It wasn't. I hear it in my nightmares. It's the sound of demons. This code highlights specific words in blue, you know, like in Animal Crossing. You're gonna learn how much I steal from Animal Crossing sometimes. And here's the code playing next to the first couple of scenes in the game. It shows the artwork and the dialogue. Whatever you name the file, that's what you have to type into the code. And every image is in a folder called Images in the game folder. Anyway, I know all of this is massively confusing, but now you know what to expect. Of course, check out the Renpy tutorials on YouTube, or just email me at rosematty.art@gmail.com. Yes, I have a Gmail, and no, you're not allowed to laugh at it. Now let's move on to a part that we're all familiar with, and it requires no numbers except hex codes. To start off, I'll say that I hate about 75% of the drawings I made for this visual novel. Not the biggest fan. It's year-old art, and I've improved significantly since then. But I appreciate these drawings for what they did for me. And people who aren't me seem to like the art, so maybe I'm overthinking it, but I still hate it. When it comes to my visual novel, I think you guys realize within a couple of seconds that the formatting is not like a traditional visual novel. Usually, visual novels have a character on screen detached from the background, sliding in and out with different emotions. You know, kind of like how I move around this YouTube video all the time. Now, there are two reasons I decided to draw the characters into the background. One, I'm a pose person. I just love to draw exaggerated figures, and though some drawings are pretty stagnant, I would say the majority are kind of pushed. The second reason is that this was a practice run for my eventual book, and I wanted to practice drawing in this canvas size. I'm an Instagram artist, guys. Most of my drawings are on box canvases, 1000 by 1000 pixels. So trying to jump to 1280 by 720 was a struggle. I couldn't get the composition down for the life of me, and a lot of drawings were centered because of that. The same old composition. It took me a while, but I learned to play with the space more. You'll learn that too when trying to draw in 1920 by 1080 or 1280 by 720 for the first time. Now jumping back to that aforementioned Instagram style, let's be real. There's no way in hell I'd be able to finish this game if I drew every scene like this. There are 267 files in this folder alone, which is around 80 drawings. Some are animations, so I won't count the frames here. It's more or less 80 drawings though. I'm a fast drawer, but I'm not that fast. Sure, this could have been possibly resolved by doing the tweening PNG stuff, but I don't wanna, okay? So in the end, I decided to go with the background style that I use for meme animations. It's similar, but also simpler. I forgot who, but someone on my Instagram told me that they liked the background style I use for memes, so I decided, okay, I'll use it for my book and, of course, for this visual novel. Also, there's a reason old cartoons use shapes for backgrounds. It's quicker to draw and kind of pretty sometimes. But that being said, my backgrounds weren't pretty. Some of these were rushed, like this park background that drives me absolutely insane. Was I even trying here? I can't even debate on what's more lazy. This vine that's not connecting or those windows. Are those windows? What the hell is that? But toward the end of the game, near the Brandon section, I was able to draw the backgrounds much better. Even though the perspective is off in this drawing, for the sake of time, I'll try to ignore it. But I'm grateful for these Pizza Pocket mishaps because they definitely helped me draw backgrounds much better for my web novel. But to every artist out there, I cannot tell you the biggest art challenge. It wasn't the backgrounds or the canvas size, but it's drawing the characters consistently. It's funny because you think you know how to draw your OC, then you decide to put them in some long form content like a comic or visual novel, and then realize that you never knew how to draw them. The key word here is consistency, and when you're first starting out, you don't have it.
Hey, SpongeBob! Well, at least I still have my personality.
The best thing I can compare it to is like the first season of a show. I get why this happens now. You understand the basic shapes of the characters' faces. We can all recognize that these all are Gioni, sure. But what I didn't know was how to construct her face until I've drawn it 100 times. I can draw anatomy because there are books on anatomy. I can draw still life because there are books on still life. Same thing with portraits. But there's absolutely no book called How to to draw Gioni. There's no Skillshare class, there's no Colosso class. You're on your own with that crap. Sure, I have my influences to guide me, but at the end of the day, no one is teaching you how to draw your own character. There's so much trial and error, and all that trial, error, and experimentation found its way into Pizza Pocket. When I draw Gioni now, I know where I've decided to place her facial features, and if I were to draw this same exact frame again, it'd look more like this. It really takes drawing the character hundreds of times to really get the feel for them. So I just want to give you artists a heads up. Your first project art will look different from your last. Every artist that makes long-form stories goes through it. From Lavender Town's Unfamiliar to Jim Davis's Garfield. Hell, even Yumi Cell's looked really different towards the end. By the end, your character will always look prettier for some reason. More polished, more simplified. More yassified, if you will. So if you think you know how to draw your OC, go draw them like 500 times and then come back to me. We'll both agree that I can't draw my OC and then you can't draw your OC. Anyway, here are all the drawings I hate in this game for either being severely off-model or lazy. And here are all the drawings I like to this day that somehow stood the test of time, not making me want to gag. This is the absolute worst drawing for reasons I'll try to restrain for now, and this one is my absolute favorite just for the pose, expression, and framing. I started drawing Jolene with bangs before they used to be pushed behind her bandana. As I said, you'll discover new things over time. Anyway, heads up. Like I said earlier, you'll have to code the name of the images into the editor, and just like most artists, I can't name a file to save my life. Here are some dumb file names. Hippie Happy 2, Hold Radio, Shocked Lame, Zero Lame _B, Apple, Wall, Wall _B, Wall _C, Wall C. Now don't confuse that with Wall _C. And of course, my absolute favorite, Victoria Justice Likes Everyone. And yes, I had to code that in, meaning I had plenty of time to think of a name, but by then my brain was so deep fried, I just stuck with it. This drawing has nothing to do with Victoria Justice, I just couldn't think of file names anymore. Speaking of thinking, let's get into the meat of the story. Sure, art is fun, but let's jump into the aspect that makes or breaks the game. Now, in order to write this section, I had to replay the game again. It's about an hour long if you play through every option, and man, I was so ready to tear this game to shreds for doing a disservice to the characters, but it surprisingly hold up well. It has that Rose Maddie brand of humor, aka my own humor. All the dialogue I forgot while replaying made my stomach hurt so much from laughing. If you find me funny, you'll probably find this game funny too. It's just kind of sad that the art is so bad sometimes in this game because the dialogue is so well written. I think all the characters bounce off each other well, and even though a lot of the dialogue is nonsensical and absurd, everyone just feels like a different character. They also look different too because I couldn't draw them consistently. We need the Pizza Pocket Definitive Edition remastered with high quality drawings pronto. But even though I enjoy it, it's not perfect. There are a couple of things I'd change. Take notes so you're aware for your visual novel as well. I don't think this game has a proper introduction to the world. From the first couple of seconds, I don't think anyone could tell this is the year 2152 or a post-apocalyptic world. It just looks like downtown LA or something. Freaking South Central or something.
Hey, Bender, what are we doing in this bad neighborhood?
Shut up, Square!
There's no indication for where you spawned. You're kind of just thrown into this world with no parachute, and it doesn't help that the story structure is borderline non-existent. There's a beginning, There's a conclusion. Everything in terms of the story that pertains to the middle does not exist. We go from one set piece to the next, meeting all these characters, and I remember it being my goal to use this game as a way to introduce every character. This is a very character-driven game. It's so character-driven that the plot decided not to show up for it, which isn't bad per se, but it needed a more driving story. Sure, we have the vague pizza pocket goal, but it's just a plot device trying to hold up a non-existent plot to begin with. If you went into this game expecting riveting lore about pizza pockets, you will be disappointed. If I had to do it again, I'd try to follow a simple story chart. I'd look at this chart while planning and look at it again. So yeah, when you make your visual novel, please use this freaking chart. So, if there's no plot, Rose, what's in the game? I'm glad you asked. Mostly the introductions of the characters, and I think they're all great introductions, but one of my OCs was assassinated in this game, and I feel so bad. Lamisha. Poor Lamisha. She became Flanderized in this game. Flanderized for the funny. By the way, to define Flanderization, it's a trope that occurs when a fictional character's defining traits are exaggerated over time until they become the character's entire personality. I'll explain deeper because I don't want you guys to accidentally assassinate your characters. Lamisha is the type of person who wants to be taken seriously. She doesn't speak much, but if she is speaking, it's probably about something important, and usually that can come with sternness or anger. But again, she doesn't speak much. Lamisha in Pizza Pocket, someone had to have pissed in her coffee. She's screaming and yelling. She jumps to assumptions and is rude for no reason. It's like, what happened to you? And I was trying to write this funny, exaggerated version of her, but it came off as low-key annoying. Even though I made this game, I want to clarify to everybody who is present in the room right now that she is not like this in the book. Emphasis again, she is not like this in the book. I'm just glad that every other character managed to stay in character. Emmett toes that line of being out of character though, but he's not as far gone as Lamisha. Kathy though, I think she was the best character in the game. She came out unscathed from Flanderization. She has a very short presence, and I'm not saying that because she's physically short, but I mean she doesn't overstay her welcome, and the few things she did say made me laugh, so good job, Kathy. There's a lot more comedy in this game than in the book, which I'm barely noticing. This is basically the beach episode, the filler, if you know what I mean, and I think I may know why. At this stage, I just about finished my book. Spoiler alert, but the last few chapters are just really depressing. Characters are on the brink of death. Friendships irreversibly tarnished, lives ruined forever. Like, it was just making me so sad, and when I started Pizza Pocket, I wanted to take a more lighthearted approach to the world and the characters. Like I said in the intro, Pizza Pocket is more trash posty compared to the actual book. Maybe that's why Lamisha is out of character, cause I needed to laugh. And that's why I added this stupid shirt to the game. I needed to laugh at that too. Well, I don't think it's funny anymore. Also, when you have two stories set in the same universe, you quickly have to decide what's canon and what's not canon. When I finished Pizza Pocket, I wrote off everything as canon, like no questions asked. Everything was canon, even this freaking stupid shirt initially. Well, you know what? It's not canon. And neither are the portions where Gioni died, of course. Sorry if you wanted Gioni's death to be canon. It's not. She's still alive. For now. But now, a year later, I have to say that, yeah, this is not all canon. I'm sorry, it's definitely not all canon. Let's play a game. What's canon and what's not? Pizza Pockets. The whole freaking foundation of the game and what the lack of plot is trying to supplement. Is it canon? I guess? Even though the most common food is produce, I can believe this exists in the world. I just remember in a later chapter, Gioni has pizza for the first time. I'll rewrite it to something else. The last thing I need is one of you to say, actually, Gioni ate a Pizza Pocket, so it's not her first pizza. We literally cannot have Gioni turn into the Rock, lying about eating food for the first time. It literally cannot happen. Darren and Lamisha dated. That's canon. I'd buy it. Emmett is an activist. Sure, I guess. But honestly, I'd give this trait to literally any other character but him. Hippie girl would kill Gioni over a broken promise. Yeah, maybe. Kathy wants to be a plant scientist. Canon. Gioni on a shirt. No, it's not canon, and it'll never be canon. Put that damn shirt back in the Goodwill rack where it belongs, or so help me God. Is Victoria Justice canon? Yes. Yes, hear me out. She's not alive in the year 2152, but she exists on the timeline. The apocalypse started in the year 2013, and that's when the timeline breaks off from ours. The real question is, did Victoria Justice survive the apocalypse? Maybe. All I know is that this is a certified hood classic, and it dropped before the apocalypse started, so nothing else matters. So yeah, if you're trying to world build, think of every scenario, try to piece it together, and find out what's canon and what's not, cause it can get confusing really quick, really fast. Also, now that we're speaking of certified hood classics, first, this is very, very important. Check your ears to make sure they're not ruptured or anything. Listening to the music I cooked up in the studio may result in bleeding. Yes, my dear viewer, except for the first and last song in this video, the background music that is playing is the Pizza Pocket Special Collector's Edition. It features top charters like Agent Loop, Brandon VHG, and Kathy Knight. I never got better at naming files. Yeah, so I made all the music for this game. I first browsed all the royalty-free music and said, no. So I looked at probably hiring someone to make the music, and my bank account said no. So instead, I went to freaking GarageBand. Yes, GarageBand, and said, Rose, go make some drums, and made some drums I did. I know absolutely nothing about music. I was like 7th chair flute out of 7 in the school band. I was that kid that was writing the letters onto the music sheet. I even sucked at playing hot cross buns on the recorder. Yes, I couldn't play hot cross buns. But yet here I am trying to make an entire soundtrack for a game. So this is what I did. I just took the time to play around with the software, and that's all you really have to do with any kind of new software. Just get familiar with it, try to learn what every button does, and hope for the best. Though I tried to watch videos on YouTube, it just wasn't clicking for me. And when you start projects like that, you'll quickly learn your strengths and weaknesses. And my kryptonite was trying to do anything that involved music. But I was determined. I looked at what I liked, and at the time I was a huge Hamilton fan. I still am, but it consumed my life more so back then. I learned about motifs, which are kind of like reoccurring tunes. For Hamilton, the motifs sound like this.
Just you wait, just you wait. What are you waiting for? I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it.
Now there are 9 characters in this game, so I tried to give each one their own sound. For this example, let's choose Brandon because we literally never talk about him on this channel. This is the normal everyday motif I gave him. It sounds so mysterious. If I'm being honest, but he's the face of Lexapro, aka anxiety, so I thought to give him an anxious sounding song. This is that same song, but it's more chill. He is in his room. He has a broken TV and 5 clocks for some reason, and he's just vibing. And then this one. It sounds so... But that's his fighting music. He was ready to throw hands with hippie girls. So yeah, you can see how it's the same notes but different instruments to give that vibe. For the only 3 agents in the game, I gave them their own theme. I'm like 90% sure that this is a pre-made GarageBand loop, but I thought it fit so well that I kept it. Here's a version of it that I made for DeMarco since he's more energetic. I feel like I could give this beat to a SoundCloud rapper or something. Okay, and here's the version for Lamisha, aka the character who's angry throughout the whole game for no reason. It gives, "Huh? I'm in danger!" beat. Also, yeah, so you can use the same couple of notes to define a character or even a group of characters. Also, my second influence after Hamilton would be Animal Crossing. I just love how relaxing the music is. Literal ear candy. Hey, I mean, even Tom Nook has that motif thing going on. Listen. I love everything about these games. The music in Animal Crossing is so calming and in the background, like this track. But I also love how the BPM speeds up the moment something bad is happening, like the Bee Chase song. So after all this, I wanted to take a stab at it. Let's bring up another character I barely talk about on this channel, Kathy. This is her motif. I think it's a very background-esque, non-distracting sound. This is until we piss her off and finally that BPM starts to speed up. My ex-boyfriend said that it sounded like GoldenEye music, and now I literally can't unhear it. So yeah, that's how I made the music. I took what I liked and tried applying it here. Now, I'm nowhere in the same league as Lin-Manuel Miranda or Kazumi Totaka, but I thank them for inspiring me to drum up some beats for this Pizza Pocket game. The music needs help. But it's not too bad. I've been told by a few that the theme song is kind of a banger, so that's nice and all. But all in all, this was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done creatively. I low-key had fun though. Now, okay, you'll never hear me talk about music again on this channel, but hey, if I somehow manage to make music for my visual novel, so can you. Now that we finally have all the Infinity Stones for the Infinity Gauntlet, it is time to finally publish the game. Yeah, nothing much happened here after I published it. I uploaded it to itch.io because the feature was available on Renpy. I told my Instagram followers, and that's it. This should have been the part of the video where I said I bought a billboard in Times Square and paid some YouTuber $5,000 to advertise it. But nah, I could have been less bothered. Like, literally, at the end of the day, I think I just made the game for myself. The book was getting way too depressing, and I needed something silly with the characters to blow off steam. So I just threw it out into the ether, and if someone downloaded it, oh well. I just hope that they enjoyed the absurdity of it all. Now, when I first published it, about 12 people downloaded it. Since starting my YouTube channel a couple months ago, it went from dead to like 13 more additional people. I have no idea who these 13 people are, but they 100% came from this YouTube channel. And with that being said, I felt like I needed to explain myself. My worst nightmare is me saying at the end of each video to go read my book. And then you accidentally download this game instead. Other than the beeping, this is also what keeps me up at night. So yes, I had to explain what the hell this visual novel even was about. Whoever you curious 13 people are, I don't know what to say to you, but I hope this video sheds light onto the absolute insanity that is Pizza Pocket. I also want to apologize to anyone who downloaded the Mac version. No one complained about the Mac version, no, but I just want to say that I don't own a Mac, so I couldn't beta test that version. It could hold a computer virus for all I know, and for legal reasons, that's a joke. Anyway, I didn't advertise this game, so no one played it. But one day, I received this message in the comments section and literally gasped. I've spoken briefly about this review before, but if you haven't seen the video, I'll link it below. These guys are called Spudcats, and they play indie games. Also, I just processed that this technically makes me an indie dev. Oh wow, that's something. Anyways, I find their analyses super funny. Them saying that Emmett reads at a 2nd grade level will always be my favorite joke about him after watching this video. So if you publish your game on itch.io, just be fully prepared for Spudcats to appear in the shadows, ready to make a video about your game. No warning. It'll just happen, and it'll be great. Anyway, for a 1-year special deal, I asked them if they had anything good or bad to say about the game. Here's what they had to say.
Oh, and we're Spudcats, and we're here to tell you about the good old game. No, I was talking about the 2152 Pizza Pocket, our thoughts and all that stuff.
Well, the game that was interesting because the name was just Pizza Pocket, and then I actually saw the thumbnail for it, and then it's like, that, I think.
Why, you just saw the game and already interested in it? From the art.
Well, you wouldn't be interested for a game that says Pizza Pocket?
It wouldn't make me hungry.
And it says 2152?
Unless there's that many.
Well, so far she lost like one Pizza Pocket. And then we go on an adventure, and then we meet a bunch of weirdos. And then I think there was guards.
I think they're friends.
I don't know.
Because how we went through it was like one path was going with their friends about the guard stuff.
Well, it was really interesting because, like, we lost the Pizza Pocket, and then we started meeting all these people, and then we learned that the world was actually very bad.
Well, it was a big mystery because we looked in the fridge because we were hungry,
Yeah,
and
so
there was
that was
only
the big
an
mystery.
apple. Yeah.
The big mystery was why was there an apple in the fridge.
Yes, it wasn't about the Pizza Pocket.
Yeah, until you thought it was missing.
Well, yeah, you go through like multiple paths of like, who do you want to meet? That was like the second half we went to, and it was like we met like 2, and then another thing.
No, that was the kind of hard part about it because we didn't know what to actually do, and then we got one of the endings.
We got 2 of the endings. One of them was like training forever by spinning.
We spin the character for hours.
And then the other thing was going to the park with a fight, and we beat up someone.
Didn't we beat up a guy that wasn't actually bad? It's
Yeah.
like, you're the one who... Oh yeah, we beat up the guy that we're like, oh, they're the one who stole the Pizza Pocket. We beat him up, and then they got some friends, and then beat us up, and then we ended.
I think. Oh, no, it was fun. I liked the art.
Well, the characters are fun to learn
Yeah, they
about.
like the characters. They have more personality than.
Then one of them can read at a
expected.
2nd grade level.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything bad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, like we played a bunch of
Visual novels.
visual novels. So yeah. I don't think we really dropped any that we didn't dislike. I don't know.
Well, you were talking about this one, not others.
I know. I could go off with other things, but yeah, this one was great. I liked it. How about you?
Well, I already said it was good and interesting and other things like 3 times.
Yeah, all we could do is say it was good and great.
Yeah, and Pizza Pocket.
Yeah, I like Pizza Pockets. They're delicious.
Yeah, but then what if somebody stole your Pizza Pocket?
I think you did.
I don't think no. I don't know if I stole your Pizza Pocket. I don't like Pizza Pockets.
You like the ham one that they used to make.
Yeah, but then that's a ham pocket, not a Pizza Pocket.
It was
and then
a
there's
pizza-
the Hot Pocket.
Okay, I think that's good enough.
I don't know if it's good or bad.
I don't know. They could be cut in.
Only gonna use like 20 seconds of this.
Yeah. All right, now we're good. Bye bye. Just Markiplier.
Bye.
Thanks for hopping on this video, guys. But yeah, that's the best way I could describe this game as well. You meet a bunch of weirdos. That's it. That's the entire game. I do find it interesting that they like the art. It just goes to show that I'll always be my worst critic when it comes to anything art related. That being said, I'm glad you guys like the game, and their channel will be linked below. Okay, so you wrote down everything, right? When you make a visual novel, you'll be coding, you'll be drawing, you'll be writing, and you may have to make some music and possibly also advertise it if you're going down that route. Even though I low-key skipped that step, you could do it with some friends and split the work, or you could do it Tommy Wiseau style and make it all by yourself. The choice is yours. Anyways, this was a good reflection for me as well, and I may make a visual novel again in the future. Who knows? But anyway, if you need help with your visual novel, you can email me because artists don't gatekeep. And I love helping and sharing with other artists, because more artists really need to make more games, and we kill it out there when we do. Okay? That's it. That's the video. If you play my visual novel, that's cool and all, but if you check out my book, that'd be really cool. It's the same Pizza Pocket crew in a slightly more serious story. Yeah, I actually decided to give them a plot to work with. Who would have guessed? And it's sci-fi and adventure. That will be linked below. I also have a Discord for artists and writers that'll also be linked below. Like and subscribe and whatever. That is much appreciated. And have fun while creating today. And I'll see you guys later.